Welcome all viewers. Welcome dear students to Dr. Mirza Shahid Beg educational channel. As we are dealing with anti-lipidemic topic, reminder to you that we have divided this topic into two parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 already we have published the video. You can see on the YouTube channel, that is introduction to the hyperlipidemia or dyslipidemia. Okay, so those who have not gone through the part 1, first they go to see the part 1 so that they can understand the basics of the lipids in the body, the hyperlipoproteinemia, the types of hyperlipoproteinemia, the causes of this disease condition. We have seen the different types from type 1 to 5, you can say. So you can understand that things and what are the effects of this hyperlipoproteinemia, so that we can, in this part 2 you will be understanding the drug. So in the part 2 today, in this video, you will see the drugs acting to control the lipid of the body. As we have seen that these drugs are widely applicable, especially if the patient is having the heart related condition also. Okay, so the doctor gives anti-lipidemic drug to control the lipids of the body so that the heart conditions get improved, you can say, and even the blood pressure of the body due to the lipid deposition, these drugs are very effective. So many things are there. In this video you will see the application of this drug and the effectivity of this drug. So this is what we will go to the first slide of this video as the classification of anti-lipidemic drug. So we have classified 6 classes which are most prevalent in the clinical sector and which is useful for the treatment. Single drug therapy is also important, plus the drugs in combination. Okay, in combination drugs are also preferred for controlling of the disease condition. So these 6 classes, the first one is HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors, which are also called as statin drugs, you can say, like for example atorvastatin, fluvastatin, lovastatin, pitvastatin, pravastatin, rosuvastatin and simvastatin. Many more drugs are also there, but these are the most important drugs which are utilized for the treatment, and they are the blockbuster drug, you can say. If you see the atorvastatin, okay, it is widely sold all over the world. The blockbuster word we use in the medicinal chemistry, the drug which is widely sold all over the world and utilized for the control of the lipids of the body, you can say. So this first class is very important and it is utilized for many types of hyperlipoproteinemia control. We will see in the further slide, one by one we will go through the each class, you can say. So the first one, HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors, the statin drugs. Second one, the fibric acid derivatives, which are also called as fibrates. The most famous drug from this class is clofibrate, fenofibrate and gemfibrozil. Okay, so these 3 drugs are again the important drug for the control of lipids of the body. We will see in which condition or which type it is what use. Okay, next is the bile acid sequestrants. Okay, or they are also called as resins. They are called as sequestrants because they are having the chelating property, chelate complex formation property with the bile acids. So that is why they have been given the name as bile acid sequestrants. Okay, the most famous resins which are approved by FDA also for the treatment is cholestyramine, cholesyvalum and cholestypol. Okay, so these 3 drugs are the resins which are very useful in the treatment of lipids of the body, you can say. Fourth one is nicotinic acid derivative, that is niacin. As you know, niacin is vitamin B3. Okay, so in lower doses, niacin act as a vitamin to the body and have the functioning of the body, you can say. But in higher doses, when niacin is used, It is used as a anti-lipidemic. For anti-lipidemic action in the body, you require the gram quantities of niacin in the body. That is how it controls the lipid. We will see the mechanism of action and how it acts as an anti-lipidemic in the further slides, you can say. Fifth one is cholesterol absorption inhibitor. Okay, so the famous drug, which is a recent drug, you can say, ezetimibe. Okay, so this ezetimibe is affecting or inhibiting the cholesterol absorption from the gastrointestinal tract. We will see the complete mechanism. So this is a fifth class, and the last one is the miscellaneous drug. The most older form of the drug which is used is the Probucol. Okay, so this drug is miscellaneously been used, or in combination it is used, you can say. So that is the sixth one. Out of all these six classes, first three classes, that is HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors, fibric acid derivatives, and bile acid sequestrants, they are most famous drug all over the world for the treatment, and as far as the application is concerned, they are utilized much more in the treatment as compared to that of the niacin or ezetimibe or Probucol, which may be used in combination with the other drugs also, you can say. So this is the complete classification of the drug. Next we go for the first class, understanding the first class, that is HMG-CoA reductase. The full form of HMG-CoA is hydroxymethylgluteryl CoA, and this is an enzyme, reductase enzyme, you can say. So first we will go to the importance of this enzyme, what this enzyme role play in the body. Why we are inhibiting it? Because statin drugs inhibit this enzyme. That is why we have given the class name as HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors. Okay, so first we will look on the role of this enzyme, then why we are inhibiting that we will try to understand. Okay, if you see the figure, it is having the structure of 3-hydroxy 3-methylgluteryl coenzyme. In the upper part you can see the structure. You can draw this structure in the paper, or you can study this. The enzyme 3-hydroxy 3-methylgluteryl coenzyme A reductase catalyzes the conversion of HMG-CoA to mevalonate. Okay, so this is what the conversion is there. We will see in the further slide that how the conversion takes place. A 4-electron oxidoreductase reduction, that is the rate limiting step in the synthesis of cholesterol, okay, and other isoprenoids also. The enzyme is found in eukaryotes and prokaryotes, both the things they are present. Okay, so this enzyme plays a very important role. You can say this is a rate limiting step of the mevalonate formation in the cholesterol synthesis, how the cholesterol is generated in the body. You can see in the below figure, that is HMG-CoA enzyme, you can say the structure. It is acted upon by the reductase enzyme, HMG-CoA reductase name is given to it. This is converting to the intermediate, okay, and this intermediate forms the mevalonic acid, and further steps it forms the cholesterol in the body, you can say. So this enzyme, you can say, is responsible for formation of the cholesterol in the body, and we are dealing with anti-lipidemic chapter. So if we inhibit this enzyme, okay, so there will be no production of cholesterol, or you can say decrease in the level of cholesterol in the body, you can say. Next slide is of the statins, introduction to this drugs, you can say. The statins are the most effective and best tolerated agent for treating dyslipidemia. These drugs are competitive inhibitors of 3-hydroxy 3-methylgluteryl coenzyme A, that is HMG-CoA reductase, which catalyzes an early rate limiting step in the cholesterol biosynthesis. Just now we have tried to understand the role of this enzyme and why we are inhibiting this enzyme. Higher doses of the more potent statins, example atorvastatin, simvastatin and rosuvastatin, also can reduce triglyceride levels caused by the elevated VLDL levels in the body. Some statins are also indicated for raising HDLC level, you can say. HDL-CC stands for cholesterol, okay, high density lipoprotein cholesterol levels in the body. So these are the importance of this class, you can say. That is why this class is most famous for utilization to control the different types of hyperlipoproteinemias in the body. So how this, what are the different types it control? The statin class of drug. The statins are useful in the management of the following dyslipidemias. First one, the familial hypercholesterolemia, that is type 2A hyperlipoproteinemia, which is called. We have seen this in the part 1, the types and synonyms given to this type 2A also, characterized by LDL receptor deficiency. Okay. Next is familial combined hyperlipidemia, that is type 2B hyperlipoproteinemia, you can say, characterized by decreased LDL receptor and increased ApoB lipoprotein, which is happening in this condition. Okay. And in this condition also the statins are very effective. Familial dis-beta lipoproteinemia, type 3 lipoproteinemia, which we called. Okay. So characterized by abnormal function of ApoE receptor that is necessary for the clearance of chylomicron remnants, that is the products of the chylomicrons, you can say, that is IDL, okay, intermediate density lipoproteins. Next is familial hypertriglyceridemia, that is type 4 hyperlipoproteinemia, characterized by increased VLDL production. So as we have stated just now, that it is very effective in control of all types of the hyperlipoproteinemia except type 1. Okay. So it is very effective for the treatment. Next we go for the mechanism of action of statins. Okay. Mechanism of action, how it produces. Just now we have said that it is HMG-CoA reductase inhibitor. So how the complete effect is there, which is divided into 4 parts, which is given by the number you can see in the diagram, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the black one, and what they are producing the effect, which is what given in the tag, you can say. So first one, if you see, the statin inhibits HMG-CoA reductase, leading to decreased concentration of cholesterol within the cells. Okay. So it is leading to the decreased concentration of cholesterol within the cell. If you go through the basics below, on the right hand corner, if you see, the acetates produces HMG-CoA. HMG-CoA forms mevalonic acid under the presence of HMG-CoA reductase inhibitor, reductase, you can say, and cholesterol is forming. So when we give this statin drugs, HMG-CoA reductase inhibitors, in the red one, if you see, it is stopping the formation of mevalonic acid, or interfering in the formation of mevalonic acid, you can say, or blocking the mevalonic acid formation. As this step is blocked, okay, cholesterol will not produce in the cells, you can say. As there is lesser cholesterol in the cell, okay, there is a de novo mechanism or feedback mechanism in the body that the cell senses that the cholesterol is low. So what they do, they initiate the nucleus, DNA, which start forming the mRNA molecules, which initiate to the ribosomes and forming the proteins in the body, which leads to the formation of receptors, and these receptors are called as LDL receptors. So LDL receptors starts forming in the much higher amount. So what this LDL receptor they do, they start attaching to the LDL which is flowing in the blood. Okay, the extra amount or higher amount of LDL in the blood is what start taking up by the cells, you can say. Okay, so this is how you can see the second number, that is the second effect. Low intracellular cholesterol stimulate the synthesis of LDL receptors. So LDL receptors are start forming in the cells, you can say, and they are taking up the LDL molecules. Okay. Now the third one, if you see, the increased number of LDL receptor promotes uptake of LDL from the blood. So to make its necessity, the cells start taking up the LDL from the blood, okay, and this is how the clearance of LDL start taking place, or lowering of the LDL level in the blood is what going to takes place. As there is no cholesterol in the cells, there is no formation of VLDL also, because the cholesterol which is forming through oxidation and other processes, it forms the VLDL, and VLDL again releases into the blood. But as the cholesterol is not forming in the cell due to the blockage of HMG-CoA reductase enzyme, so VLDL is also not forming, okay. So this is how the complete process, okay, that by just inhibiting the enzyme HMG-CoA reductase enzyme, we lower the cholesterol. As the cholesterol is lower in the cells, they start having the feedback mechanism or de novo mechanism, and start preparing its own receptors and taking up the LDL from the blood, okay. So LDL from the blood is what utilized. VLDL is also not forming. So the complete process or complete mechanism leads to the decrease in the overall cholesterol of the body, right from the LDL to VLDL to IDL plus various things. It's a complete mechanism which is correlated in the 4 steps we have given with the numbers, you can say. So you can study nicely and draw this diagram in your examination with the pencil also, so that you can understand very well the things, and you can write by your own language also if you understand the mechanism, okay. Next we go for the chemistry of statin drugs, as these drugs are important. So the chemistry, in the medicinal chemistry, the SAR you can say, or the chemistry of the statin class of drugs, you can say we have divided into 3 parts this chemistry. The first one is 7-substituted 3,5-dihydroxyheptanoic acid chemistry, which is attached to the ring system, and 2 ring systems are there, ring A and ring B. Ring A and B we have divided because ring A is for the older form of the drugs. The old form of the drugs like lovastatin, simvastatin or mavastatin, etc. And ring B, which are the newer form of the drug like atorvastatin, rosuvastatin. So the chemistry part we have divided into 3 parts. You can say, if you see the structure, lovastatin, simvastatin, pravastatin, they are having the older form of the drugs, and they are having the nucleus, different nucleus, decalan nucleus, you can say. But if you see the newer form of the drug, that is fluvastatin, atorvastatin, pitvastatin or rosuvastatin, they are having the different nucleuses in the drug structure. So that is how the requirement is there for the chemistry. So first one, if we take the first part, that is 7-substituted 3,5-dihydroxyheptanoic acid. The 3,5-dihydroxycarboxylate is essential for inhibitory activity. Compound containing a lactone are prodrug requiring in vivo hydrolysis. So this older form of the drug, some of the drug like mavastatin and lovastatin, they are present in the lactone form. In this attachment to the ring system, you can say. So this has to be converted to the carboxylate form, you can say, for activity, because inhibitory activity is persist in 3,5-dihydroxycarboxylate ion, you can say. So second one, the absolute stereochemistry of 3 and 5 hydroxy group must be same as that found in mavastatin and lovastatin, okay. So the stereochemical aspect is there, the requirement for the activity. If it exists in this form, then only it will show the activity. Altering the 2 carbon distance between C5 and the ring system diminishes or fails to improve the activity. So only 2 carbon atoms are required. If you disturb this carbon atom, or if you contract or expand this 2 carbon system between the ring attachment and the carboxylate attachment, you can say, that is dihydroxyheptanoic acid derivative molecule. So that will diminishes or fails to improve the activity. Double bond between C6 and C7 can either increase or decrease the activity. The ethyl group provides optimal activity for the compound containing ring A, and some heterocyclic ring, pyrrole ring of atorvastatin or ethinyl ring group is optimum for the compound with other ring system, including the indole, quinoline and pyrimidine ring seen in fluvastatin, pitvastatin and rosuvastatin respectively. So this molecule which is attached to the ring system, okay, so it may be having the attachment, heterocyclic ring attachment also, pyrrole ring of atorvastatin like this way, or the indoline, quinoline or pyrimidine ring system in fluvastatin, pitvastatin and rosuvastatin. So this is the attachment or the first part chemistry which is required for the activity, you can say. Next we go for ring A first, which is present in the older form of the drug like lovastatin or pravastatin or simvastatin, you can say. The decalin ring is essential for anchoring the compound to the enzyme active site. Replacement with the cyclohexane ring resulted in a 10,000 fold decrease in the activity. Okay, so this is how the decalin, that is, it should be in the unsaturated form. Okay, if you saturate, if you attach the saturated ring or reduction takes place, no activity will be there. 10,000 fold decrease in activity you can get. Stereochemistry of the ester side chain is not important for activity. However, the conversion of this ester to an ether results in a decrease in activity. So the ester linkage or ester attachment is there if you see at the ring A. So this ester part, if it is converted to ether part, so the decrease in activity you can get. Methyl substitution at the R2 position increases the activity. Okay, if you see the R2 which is side by to the or attached to the ester group, you can say. So this R2, okay, if methyl is substituted at R2 position, increase activity. Example, simvastatin is more potent than the lovastatin. Okay, beta hydroxy group substituted at R1 position enhances the hydrophilicity and may provide some cellular specificity. Okay, if you attach the beta hydroxy at R1, which is on the decalin ring, you can say, so that increases the activity or cellular specificity to the molecule. So this is regarding the ring A, which is in the old form of the drug, you can say. Now we go to the ring B, which is in the new form, atorvastatin, rosuvastatin or pitvastatin or fluvastatin. So this substituents X, W, X, Y, Z can be either carbon or nitrogen. N is equal to either 0 or 1, that is 5 or 6 member heterocyclic ring. Okay, so here in the structure it is given N, W, X, Y, Z. We will see the structures also there. So it should be heterocyclic ring, or it is having containing a carbon or the nitrogen, you can say. The parafluorophenyl cannot be coplanar with the central aromatic ring. Structural restraint to cause the coplanarity have resulted in the loss of activity, you can say. So the structural restraint is there, which is coplanarity is what affected, you can say, and the loss of activity may get in this condition. R substitution with aryl group, hydrocarbon chain, amides or sulfonamide enhances the lipophilicity and inhibitory activity. The R group in the structure, it may be hydrocarbon, amide, sulfonamide, so enhances the lipophilicity if we attach, an inhibitory activity you can get for this molecule, you can say. So this is how the chemistry for this compound or the statins, which are important drugs, is divided into 3 parts. You can study the ring A, ring B and 7 substituted 3,5-dihydroxyheptanoic acid. So this overall chemistry you can see now in the structure, the drug structure. Lovastatin, simvastatin, if you see the ester group on the lower part, methyl group, and upper part which is containing the 7-hydroxyheptanoic acid. Okay, that is 7 substituted 3,5-dihydroxy heptanoic acid, you can say. So pravastatin structure is there, fluvastatin is there, atorvastatin, pitvastatin, okay, and rosuvastatin. You can practice out this structure and expertise the chemical structure, because many questions are asked in the MCQs also, plus in the nationalized exams also, regarding the structural requirement or the chemical name of the compound. So by knowing the structure, you can crack the chemical name also. So practice out the structure this of the special statins. And just now we have stated that the statins, the older form of the drugs which are present in the lactonic form, okay, has to be converted into the active form. So one example we have taken, the inactive drug, that is mevastatin or lovastatin, in vivo hydrolysis. Okay, so here the phase 1 metabolism, that is hydrolysis process, it is going through and forming the carboxylate active form, you can see in the structure, and that carboxylate form mimics the intermediate for the HMG-CoA, which is acted upon by the HMG-CoA reductase, which is getting engaged, competitive inhibition is there, and it is what inhibit, and as it inhibit the enzyme, there is no formation of mevalonic acid at the last, you can say. So this is how you can practice out this also, and you can give this example of prodrug to the active formation, and how this active carboxylate derivative inhibit the HMG-CoA reductase enzyme. Next we go for the side effect of statins. Okay, as you know, all the drugs are having side effects, and here we are playing with the lipids of the body, you can say, and it is very potent drugs. So what are the different side effects? Headache, difficulty sleeping, you can say, flushing of the skin, muscle aches, tenderness or weakness, myalgia, drowsiness, dizziness, nausea or vomiting, abdominal cramping or pain, blotting or gas, diarrhea, constipation, rash, myositis, rhabdomyolysis, elevated level of CPK, or that is creatinine kinase. Okay, so here drugs, this drug produces means in the long term basis, it produces a very drastic effect in the body. That has to be look on to the side effects also, or keep in mind of the side effects also. Flushing of the skin is due to the vasodilation which is produced. Okay, the muscle aches, tenderness or weakness, rashes, myositis. Myositis is the inflammation of the muscles, you can say, or rhabdomyolysis in the long term. It's a disintegration of the muscles, which is in some cases it becomes very critical, because the degradation of the muscles tissues takes place, which is coming into the blood, which is coming into the urine, you can say, less urine formation, kidney failure may occur due to rhabdomyolysis. So it's become very critical in the long term basis for the statin drugs. Elevated level of the creatinine kinase also in the body, that is what leading to the drastic condition in the body, you can say. So these are all side effects of statin drugs that has to be considered. Next is the drug interaction and contraindication of statin drugs. Okay, administration with other drug associated with myopathy requires caution. Okay, myopathy, which is the muscle tissues problem, which is leading to a pain in the muscles, you can say. Simvastatin and gemfibrozil co-administration is contraindicated because of the risk of rhabdomyolysis. So the combination therapy has to be very cautiously been used, because it may lead to a risk of rhabdomyolysis. Dose restrictions are recommended with the co-administration of gemfibrozil or other fibrates with statin, and the use of more than one statin is not recommended. Statins are contraindicated for use by patients with active hepatic diseases or unexplained persistent elevation in aminotransferase level. So the person or the patient is, if it is having the hepatic diseases, so statins has to be cautiously been used in that patient, you can say. Statins are contraindicated during pregnancy and while breastfeeding because of the effect of cholesterol pathway. The cholesterol is an essential component for fetal and infant synthesis of steroids and cell membrane development. Okay, so statins should not be given in pregnancy because, as you know, the fats and cholesterol are required for the body development of the fetus also. So if we drastically affect this, the fetal development get affected and the critical condition may become. Okay, so these are the general drug interaction and contraindications of these statins. Then we go to the next class, second class, that is fibric acid derivatives, or you can call them as a fibrates also, or PPAR activators. Okay, so PPAR activators means the peroxisome proliferator activating receptor alpha. There are two types of PPARs, PPAR alpha and PPAR beta. So we are more concerned with PPAR A, alpha, you can say. So this fibric acid derivatives or fibrates are regarded as broad spectrum lipid lowering drugs. They are called as broad spectrum, okay, lipid lowering drugs. Their main action is to decrease triglyceride levels, but they also tend to reduce low density lipoproteins, that is LDL cholesterol levels, which is a bad cholesterol for the body, and helps to raise the high density lipoprotein, that is HDL cholesterol, which is a good cholesterol for the body. So this is the second class, which is again the famous class for the antilipidemic. The use of this therapeutic uses, the fibrates are used in the treatment of hypertriglyceridemia. They are particularly useful in treating type 3 hyperlipidemia, that is dis-beta lipoproteinemia, in which intermediate density particles accumulate. Okay, so this is very effective in the type 3. Now we go for the mechanism of action of the fibrates. As you see, the figure is also there, and first we will try to understand the mechanism of action, and by the figure then we will try to understand the things in the figure also. The fibrate appears to activate a protein called peroxisome proliferating activated receptor alpha. Okay, that is called as, in the short form, PPAR alpha. PPAR alpha activate the enzyme lipoprotein lipase and ultimately result in decreased formation of very low density lipoprotein cholesterol, which is converted into LDL cholesterol and triglyceride, and an increase in the HDL cholesterol. Okay, so actually these fibrate drugs are increasing the lipoprotein lipase enzyme, which is responsible for the conversion of the chylomicrons, and LDL receptors are produced, which is taken up by the cells for the metabolism, etc. So this is genetically it is acting, you can say, and it is initiating the genes, that is peroxisome proliferating activated receptor alpha, which produces the lipoprotein lipase. So in the diagram, if you see, the chylomicrons or VLDL, which is flowing through the blood vessels. Okay, so this is acted upon by the lipoprotein lipase and converting it to the free fatty acids. Okay, so if you see gemfibrozil, the example is taken, which is having the positive sign in the green. So that means that is acted upon by the lipoprotein lipase. The level of lipoprotein lipase are increases, which is acting on this chylomicron remnants and VLDL also, and converting into the free fatty acid. As we have seen in the part 1, free fatty acids are utilized for the energy source by the peripheral tissues, you can say, or muscular functioning, you can say. So that is what utilize, and the general conversion, that is the below one, if you see, IDL and chylomicron remnants are not forming. Okay, because most of the parts, or the maximum part of chylomicrons and VLDL is converted to the free fatty acids. So there is no chance of forming the IDL or other chylomicron remnants like LDL, you can say, and there is a decreased level of the ideal and chylomagnetic. That is why we have said just now that it is very effective in the type 3 dies beta lipoproteinemia. So this is a complete mechanism of action of the fibrates. Now we go to the chemistry or SAR of fibrate drug. In the medicinal chemistry, you can discuss the chemistry requirement or SAR of this class. So we have taken the nucleus, or we have taken the drug which is a clofibrate drug, and you can name the nucleus of for this chemistry discussion as phenoxyisobutyric acid nucleus. Okay, so here we have divided the chemistry into 4 parts so that the student can understand very nicely what is the requirement, and we will then see the structure of the drug also. So you will understand that what to be attached and how the chemical structures are there and what is required for its activity, that is to activate the PPAR alpha, you can say, and forming the lipoprotein lipase LPL receptors, you can say. So here the chemistry is divided into 4 parts. First is aromatic ring in the blue circle, you can see. Next is the ether linkage in the yellow form, you can see, and isobutyric acid, you can see in the isobutyric acid group, you can see in the this one pink form, you can say, and the tail is yellow form, that is a tail group. So what should be all these 4 parts, or how should be the attachment in these 4 parts? That is what discussed for the chemistry. So one by one we can go. First one, if we take off aromatic ring chemistry in the fibrate drugs. So aromatic ring is required for activity, first point, because this aromatic ring attaches to the lipophilic part of the enzyme, you can say, or the genes, you can say, in the nucleus, which is forming the PPAR alpha, you can say, activating the PPAR alpha. So this group is required for activity. In each and every drug, you will see that the aromatic ring is present. Okay. Third point, you can have the electron withdrawing group if attached at the para position, increases the activity. So if you see here, chlorine group is there in the clofibrate, that is why name is given to this drug as clo, that is standing for the chlorine. So para position, if chlorine group is attached, that is electron withdrawing group, the increase in the activity you can get. Fourth point you can have for this aromatic part is if the bulkier group is attached at the para position instead of chlorine, if you have the aromatic ring or other ring structure at the at the chlorine part, you can say, you will be having the increase in the activity. If we have fifth point, if we have the saturation of this ring, decrease in the activity you can get. Sixth point, if we totally remove this aromatic part from the structure, you will not get the activity, or loss of activity occurs. Okay, so this is regarding the aromatic ring chemistry, the 6 points you can remember. Now we go for the ether linkage. Okay, the ether group which is attached to the aromatic ring, that we called as phenoxy. That is why the name is given to the nucleus as phenoxyisobutyric acid nucleus. So this ether linkage between the butyric acid and the aromatic part, you can say, the ether linkage is required for activity. You will see that ether is present, this ether linkage is present in all the drugs. If we replace the ether with ester or any other atom, you can say, instead of oxygen we have nitrogen, phosphorus or sulfur, which are lone pair containing compound, the loss of activity you will get. So the oxygen atom or the ether linkage should be present in between the butyric acid and the aromatic part for activity, you can say. Next is the isobutyric acid group. So isobutyric acid group is required for activity. In all drugs, you will see that isobutyric acid is present. Okay, the contraction or expansion of this isobutyric group. Okay, contraction means if you remove the carbon atoms from this butyric part, you can say, or if you add more carbon atom, expansion which we called, okay, the loss of activity occurs. Okay, so this is essential. Isobutyric group is required for activity. Now the last one, that is tail group. Here the lower alkyl group, if present, plays a very important role, because in the body this has to be converted to the free carboxylic acid group, you can say, for its action. So the tail group, small alkyl groups which are present, they are more preferable and produces the good effect as compared to that of bulkier groups or higher groups attached at the tail group, which is not preferred, you can say. So here ethyl group is present. Again, this is converting to the free carboxylic acid group in the body, you can say. So this is a complete chemistry requirement of the fibrate type of the drug. Now we can see the structures of the drug. You will see that clofibrate, the requirement of the structure. Okay, the aromatic ring is there, ether linkage is there, isobutyric acid group is there, and at the tail ethyl group is present. Gemfibrozil, if you see the ether linkage, the isobutyric group, again the carboxylate group at the last end, you can say. Fenofibrate, again the requirement, if you see the structure. Ciprofibrate, the name cyclopropyl group is present at the para position, so that is why the name is given to it as a cipro. Okay, so and dichloro group is present in the structure. Benzafibrate, again if you can see the so simple structures are there, you can practice out the structures, and many MCQs can be asked in this, you can say, fibrate drug structures, you can say, like the only drug which is not having any halogen atom in the structure, or fibrate drug which is not having halogen in the structure, already asked in many of the nationalized exam, like gemfibrozil. If you see, no halogen group is present, but if you see all the drug, clofibrate, fenofibrate, ciprofibrate, benza, all are having chlorine atom in the structure, you can say. Or other question may be asked like MCQ, the dichloro group, or you can say the two chlorine atoms which are present in the structure, the drug name is of the fibrate class is dash. So you can remember that ciprofibrate is having the two chlorine. So many questions, MCQ questions are also asked on the fibrate drug class, you can. Now we go for side effect, drug interaction and contraindication of fibrate drug. The most common adverse effect are mild gastrointestinal disturbances, myositis, that is inflammation of voluntary muscles can occur, and muscle weakness or tenderness should be evaluated. Okay, see, all the drugs, all the antilipidemic drugs are having such type of the effect on the muscles. Muscle weakness or tenderness of the muscles are occurring, or myositis is occurring in the long term basis also. Myopathy and rhabdomyolysis have been reported in the patient taking gemfibrozil and statins together. The use of gemfibrozil is contraindicated with simvastatin. Okay, this drug should not be used together, otherwise the patient may have a very dangerous condition or drastic effect in the body, you can say. Both fibrates may increase the effect of warfarin. INR, international normalized ratio, should therefore be monitored more frequently when a patient is taking both the drug. This drug increases biliary cholesterol excretion. There is a predisposition to form the gallstone. Patient with renal insufficiency may be at risk. Okay, so the patient which is affected from the gallstone or the liver diseases, it may have a risk, higher risk, you can say. So fibrates should not be used in patient with severe hepatic or renal dysfunctioning, or in patient with pre-existing gallbladder diseases. So the fibrates has to be used very cautiously in such type of the patients, you can say. Now we go for the third class, that is bile acid sequestrants, or it is having the synonym also, that is they are called as resins also, resin drugs also, or they are also called as anion exchangers. Okay, as these drugs are positively charged drugs, they bind to the negatively charged bile acid salts or bile acid, you can say. So that is why they have been given the name as anion exchangers. Okay, so these are the synonyms. You may call it as bile acid sequestrants. Sequestrants, we have already seen that they are chelate forming drugs, or chelate formation takes place. Okay, complex chelate complex takes place. So these are called as bile acid sequestrants, resins, or anion exchangers. So bile acid sequestrants or resins have a significant LDL cholesterol lowering effect, although the benefits are less than those observed with the statins. Okay. Therapeutic uses: bile acid resins are useful, often in combination with diet or niacin, for treating type 2A and type 2B hyperlipidemia. Cholestyramine can also relieve pruritus caused by accumulation of bile acid in patient with biliary stasis. Cholestyramine has been used as treatment for intrahepatic cholestasis of pregnancy and an antidote for some type of diarrhea, chlordecone pesticide poisoning, and digitalis toxicity. Cholesevelam is also indicated for type 2 diabetes due to its glucose lowering effect. Because bile acid sequestrants are not absorbed into the systemic circulation, they do not present a direct risk to the embryo or fetus and are considered compatible with pregnancy. All are rated risk factor B and lactation. Okay. The major advantage of these drugs are they are resins and they are inert resins, you can say. They are not having their own effect in the body. They are not absorbed into the blood also. They remain into the GI tract only, and they absorb onto them or forms the complex, chelate complex with the bile acids, you can say, and they are removed from the body in the form of feces. So this is these drugs are good drugs which are producing their effect, and we will see the complete mechanism how they lower the cholesterol. Here you can see the bile acid formation or the structures of the bile acid also, that you can draw in the your university exam papers, or you can remember the things, you can say. The cholesterol is the precursor of bile acids that are excreted from the liver and gallbladder into the intestine to aid in the digestion of fat in the food, you can say. So there you can see the pathway cholesterol with the several steps. 7 alpha hydroxylase enzyme which is acting upon the cholesterol, and further different steps it forms the bile acid, okay, which is having the conjugation forming the glycocholate, a bile salt. Okay, so this is how continuous draining of the bile acid is there into the intestine, and from the intestine it is again reuptake, which is having the mechanism which is going on continuously, you can say. Now we go to the understanding the mechanism of action, how it lower the cholesterol. So for this we have divided into 3 parts here. First we can look on the figure, normal figure, that is figure A, you can see here. So here in the figure A, if you see the normal for conversion of cholesterol into the bile acid is drained into the small intestine, and again it is taken up into the liver, you can say, and this cycle goes on until and unless it is removed from the feces. Okay, so most of the bile acids and salts that are secreted into the intestine are reabsorbed, okay, and this cycle goes on unless and until it is removed from the feces, you can say. But our drug structure or our drug mechanism of action, that is cholestyramine, cholestyramine and cholesevelam, are anion exchange resins that binds to negatively charged bile acid and bile salt in the small intestine. So when we give our drug, that is the resins, all the 3 resins, cholestyramine, cholestyramine and cholesevelam, it is into the comes into the intestine, and wherever they find the bile acid in the intestine, they form or attach through the negatively charged bile acid and bile salt in the small intestine and form the chelate complex or insoluble complex, you can say. The resins or bile acid complex is excreted in the feces, thus lowering the bile acid concentration. So this bile acid, when attached to the bile, this resins when attached to the bile acid, it forms the firm bonding, you can say, and it is not leaving the bile acid for the recycle or reabsorption into the liver, and they remove from the body in the form of feces. This causes hepatocyte to increase conversion of cholesterol to bile acid, which are essential component of the bile, you can say. So what the hepatocyte, they think that they are not, the level of bile acid is lower. Okay, so what these cells they do, they start taking up the cholesterol which is circulating in the blood. Maximum amount of the cholesterol is taken up by the liver from the blood and converting into the bile acid, because they have to maintain the bile acid level in the liver, you can say. Consequently, the intracellular cholesterol concentration decreases, which activate and increase hepatic uptake of the cholesterol containing LDL particles, leading to a fall in plasma LDL-C, that is low density lipoprotein cholesterol. Note this increased uptake is mediated by upregulation of the cell surface LDL receptors. Just now we have seen that the liver cells take up from the blood the traveling or circulating cholesterol, especially the LDL molecule, with the help of LDL receptors. Okay, so this clears or this lower the blood cholesterol, and in this way the mechanism of the resin is there. So in the B part of the figure, you can see here the hyperlipidemic patient treated with bile acid binding resins. So when we give the bile acid, they attach when we give the resins to the patient, so this attaches to the bile acid and salts, forms the insoluble complex, which is removing from the body in the form of feces. So as there is no reuptake of the bile acid into the liver, the lower level of the bile acids, it initiate the hepatocytes to take up the cholesterol from the blood which is circulating, you can say, and clearance of the blood cholesterol or the lipid takes place in the higher amount, and the end consequence is the patient cholesterol level or lipid level gets lower down, you can say. So this is how the good mechanism of resins. With the help of diagram, you can draw this diagram in the examination and you can understand very easily the mechanism of action of resins drug. Next we go for the chemistry of resins. Okay, so if you see the chemistry of resins, here the structure, chemical structure of the three resin drugs. So the first one, the precursor, the first one is the precursor of cholestyramine, that is styrene molecule, and cholestyramine divinyl benzene. Okay, so the two forms or the two units are there which is present in the cholestyramine, that is styrene molecule and divinyl benzene molecule. Okay, so this together forms the cholestyramine effect, or you can form the these two forms the cholestyramine resin drug, you can say. So this is how the formation of the cholestyramine, it is having we have just now seen the cholestyramine, the first resin drug. It is made up of the two units, that is styrene molecule and divinyl benzene, which is attached in the series, and n number of these units are attached and forming the cholestyramine. Okay, the next resin is cholestypol. The precursor for the cholestypol is tetraethylene pentamine molecule and epichlorhydrin. Okay, so these molecules are precursors in joint forms the various several units, n number of units are there, the cross linking is there in the structure forming the cholesterol. Okay, many MCQ question can be asked on this, the structures of the resins, you can say, like for example the styrene and divinyl benzenes are present in which resin. So the options might be there, so you can easily identify. Or epichlorhydrin is present in which resin. Okay, so you can crack the many of the MCQ question, and you can have one unit structure practice, and n you can put, so that the many cross linkings are there or many units are attached in the series. Next resin is cholecevellum with a chemical structure. It is the extended polymeric network, which is containing the primary amines. A is the primary amines, B the cross-linked amines, D quaternary ammonium alkylated amines, E is the decyl alkylated amines, N is the fractions of protonated amines in the cholecevellum, you can say, and G represents the complete network. The units are there in the cholecevellum resin, you can say. So these are the structures. The side effect of resin drugs: the bile acid sequestrants are not absorbed into the body, and therefore they do not have systemic side effect affecting other organs. Their most common side effects are gastrointestinal, and this includes constipation, abdominal pain, bloating, vomiting or diarrhea, weight loss, excessive passage of gas, flatulence, heartburn, gallstone, etc. So as they are not having the systemic action, but they are having a GI tract related major side effects, you can say. So these are the side effects of resin drugs. Next is the drug interaction of resin drugs. The bile acid sequestrant can bind to and decreases the absorption and hence the effectiveness of other drugs such as warfarin, thyroid hormones, digoxin, thiazide diuretic, and many other. Therefore, this medication should be taken 1 hour before or 4 to 6 hours after the administration of bile acid sequestrants. Okay, so as they are having the adsorption property, as they are having the binding property, ionic binding property, so the drugs, many important drugs like digoxin and thyroid hormone or warfarin or thiazide diuretics are affected by this drug. So they should be taken 1 hour before the administration of the resin or 4 to 6 hours after the administration of the resin drugs, you can say. Bile acid sequestrant reduces the absorption of vitamin A, D, E and K. Long-term use may thus cause a deficiency of vitamin A, D, E and K. So if the resins are given in the long-term basis, the vitamin supplement when the patient is taking, it is getting affected, or from the food also when the vitamins are taken by the patient, supplement you can say, so that is going to be affected in the patient. So these are the drug interactions of resins. Next we go for the fourth class, nicotinic acid, that is niacin. Niacin as such is the vitamin B3. Okay, in the lower concentration it acts as a vitamin B3 to the body and produces important functions. And you know very well, vitamin B3 in the pellagra condition and all that is very effective and given to the patient. Okay, deficiency of vitamin B3 causes the pellagra. So here nicotinic acid in the higher quantity, you may call it as nicotinic acid or niacin, one and the same thing you can say. So in the higher doses, okay, for production of antilipidemic action, we required niacin in a gram doses so that it will produce the antilipidemic effect. So the three structures we have taken, that is nicotine, nicotinic acid and nicotinamide. Okay, nicotine which is present in the cigarette smoke or all that, the structure is what produced from the nicotine, that is nicotinic acid. This nicotinic acid in the body is converted to the nicotinamide in the body, that is metabolism in the liver, you can say. So as such, niacin chemically is 3-pyridine carboxylic acid. Okay, nicotinic acid has 3 special features as a hypolipidemic drug. It has multiple beneficial effect or serum lipoprotein. It is the least expensive and it is the least well tolerated, you can say. So this some important points are there for the nicotinic acid to be used as antilipidemic, because it is having multiple beneficial effect also on serum lipoprotein. It is less less costly, you can say, or least expensive, you can say, and it is the least well tolerated. It is not having the tolerance much by the patient. The hypolipidemic effect of niacin require larger doses than are required for its vitamin effect. So students, here remember this point, that for the hypolipidemic effect of niacin required larger doses than are required for its vitamin effect. Niacin is the best agent available for increasing HDL-C increment of 30 to 40%. It also lowered triglyceride by 35 to 45% as effectively as the fibrates and the more potent statins, you can say. It reduces LDL-C level by 20 to 30%. Niacin also is the only lipid lowering drug that reduces LPA level significantly by approximately 40%. Okay, lipoprotein LPA is the lipoprotein A or apolipoprotein A, you can say, which is responsible, which is very dangerous for the body, you can say, for producing coronary heart diseases or atherosclerosis in the body. So the level it is lower by this niacin approximately by 40% also. So the mechanism of action of niacin with the diagram you can understand very easily. At gram doses, niacin strongly inhibits lipolysis in the adipose tissues. The primary producer of circulating free fatty acid. The liver normally utilizes this circulating fatty acids as a major precursor for triacyl glycerol synthesis. Thus, niacin causes a decrease in liver triacyl glycerol synthesis, which is required for VLDL production. LDL, the cholesterol rich lipoprotein, is derived from VLDL in the plasma. Therefore, a reduction in the VLDL concentration also results in the decreased plasma concentration. Okay. So this is how the mechanism of action of niacin is there. You can see in the diagram also that in the adipose tissues the triglycerides are converting into the free fatty acids, but the niacin when given to the patient, okay, so it is inhibiting. Negative sign indicates the inhibition of the conversion of triglyceride into the free fatty acid into the adipose tissue. Further process of conversion of fatty acids are getting affected as there are no fatty acids, so there is no conversion into triglycerides, there is no conversion into VLDL, and the end result is VLDL is not converting into the LDL. So this is how the level of LDL, VLDL, triglycerides, fatty acids all are getting affected. That is the mechanism of action of niacin. You can say, you can draw this diagram by the pencil for your answer, you can say, or when you are writing in the university paper, and this is a overall mechanism of action of niacin. Now we go for the metabolism of niacin. Okay, as such, the niacin is getting extensively metabolized by the liver, and there is two major products of niacin, that is the conjugation. By the conjugation process, nicotine uric acid is forming, which is excreting through the renal route, you can say. And the other product of metabolic product of niacin is nicotine amide. By the amidation process, okay, that is nicotine amide is forming. Okay, this nicotine amide, NAD or NADPH formation, you can say, further it is forming or causing the liver toxicity. So this is the metabolite. Nicotine amide is the metabolite which is producing the hepatotoxicity of the niacin, you can remember. Okay, so by the conjugation process, that is the phase 2 metabolism, niacin is undergoing liver metabolism and forming the two major metabolites. Okay, that is nicotine uric acid and nicotine amide. Out of these two metabolites, nicotine amide is harmful to the body, forming the liver toxicity. Now we go for the side effect of niacin. When taken orally in appropriate amount, niacin appear to be safe. Okay, in the lower doses, you can consider the niacin is safe to the body, but in the higher doses which we required for our anti-lipidemic effect, you can say high doses of niacin available via prescription can cause. Okay, so we have divided all the side effects depending upon the site of action, you can say, or site of organ, you can say, that is GI tract. If you consider, abdominal pain may occur, dyspepsia, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation may occur due to the larger doses of niacin, cholestasis, jaundice, cholelithiasis, pancreatitis may occur due to this niacin, you can say, formation of gallstone and all that. Headache, dizziness, drowsiness, blurred vision, mental depression in the long term basis when the drug is taken in higher doses. Impotence, decreased libido, myopathy, myositis and rhabdomyolysis. These are the peculiar side effects of all the anti-lipidemic drugs. So also with the niacin also in the higher doses. Anemia, leukopenia, esophagia, flushing, pruritus and rash. Okay, flushing is due to the vasodilatory effect on the face. Also the flushing occurs when the niacin is taken in the higher doses. So these are the side effects of the niacin. Now coming on to the drug interaction of niacin, the possible drug interaction with alcohol. Taking niacin with alcohol might increase the risk of liver damage and worsen the niacin side effect such as flushing and itching. Allopurinol and niacin need to be increased as gout medicine to control your gout. The levels of the allopurinol should be increased while taking the niacin. Anticoagulant and antiplatelet drugs, taking niacin with them might increase your risk of bleeding. So it is interfering with the process of bleeding, you can say, or formation of risk of bleeding may occur. Blood pressure drugs and niacin, this could increase your risk of low blood pressure, hypotension, as due to the vasodilatory effect it may increases the low blood pressure, that is hypotension. Sometimes it may be critical also. Chromium, taking niacin with chromium might lower your blood sugar. If you have diabetes and taking niacin and chromium, closely monitor your blood sugar levels. So along with the chromium, when niacin is given, the blood sugars are drastically affected. Diabetes drug, if you have diabetes, niacin can interfere with blood glucose control. You might need to adjust the dose of your diabetes drug. Okay, so hepatotoxicity drugs and niacin, all the drugs which are having the hepatotoxic effect, and consequently you are getting the niacin, or in combination, increases the risk of liver damage. Okay, statins and niacin increases the risk of side effect, like we have seen myositis or myopathy or rhabdomyolysis may increase by the combination of statin and niacin in long term basis also. Zinc taken with niacin might worsen the niacin side effects such as flushing and itching, you can say. So these are all the possible side effects of niacin, should be cautiously been used when this type of the drugs are receiving in the patient, you can say. Next we go for the fifth class, that is the second last class, that is ezetimibe, a cholesterol absorption inhibitor. Okay, so if you see the structure of cholesterol absorption inhibitor, that is ezetimibe, it's very simple. You can say it is 2-azetidione derivative. Okay, so the middle one, nitrogen along with the ketone, that is azetidione derivative, which is having parafluoro phenyl group, para-hydroxyphenyl group. Again it is attached to the paraphenyl group in the other side chain. Okay, so ezetimibe is a 2-acetylidinone derivative. It lower the LDL cholesterol by 17% and triacyl glycerol by 6%, and it increases the HDL cholesterol by 1.3%. The formulation of ezetimibe and simvastatin has been shown to lower LDL level more effectively than the statins alone. It is also available in the fixed combination, that is ezetimibe simvastatin, ezetimibe atorvastatin, and ezetimibe rosuvastatin. So this is very effective in combination with the statins, you can say, and producing a good effect in the body. Next, the mechanism of action of ezetimibe. So the ezetimibe, you can have the mechanism of action, how it inhibits the absorption of cholesterol. Ezetimibe selectively inhibits intestinal absorption of dietary and biliary cholesterol in the small intestine, especially at the brush border of the small intestine, leading to the decrease in the delivery of intestinal cholesterol to the liver, you can say. Especially, ezetimibe has been proposed to bind to a specific transport protein located in the wall of small intestine, resulting in a reduction of cholesterol transport and absorption. This causes a reduction of hepatic cholesterol stores and an increase in the clearance of cholesterol from the body. Ezetimibe appeared to be selective in its action in that it does not interfere with the absorption of triglyceride, lipid soluble vitamins or other nutrients. So this is having a very simple mechanism of action. If you see the diagram also, the dietary cholesterol or biliary cholesterol when comes into the intestine, okay, so this drug ezetimibe binds to the brush border of the small intestine. You can see in the diagram where the brush borders are there, and a cross sign has been shown by the ezetimibe, you can say. That means it is not leaving that cholesterol which comes into the intestine back into the liver, that is reabsorption is getting affected. Okay, so like the same way, similar to the resins mechanism of action just now we have seen, that when the hepatocyte feels that their level of bile acid is lower, what they do, they start taking up the LDL concentration from the circulation of the blood, okay, through the LDL receptor. It is shown in the diagram also, LDLR, which means the LDL receptors, you can say. So that take up the extra lipid or cholesterol which is flowing in the blood, and hepatocyte starts converting it into the bile acid to maintain the de novo mechanism or the feedback mechanism of the hepatocytes, and again dump up, or you can say release or drain the biliary bile acid or biliary cholesterol into the small intestine, and this ezetimibe doesn't leaving it back into the blood, that is absorption is getting inhibited. And the possible cause which is shown is that ezetimibe has been proposed to bind to a specific transport protein located in the wall of the small intestine, resulting in the reduction of cholesterol transport and absorption through the GI tract into the blood, you can say. So this is how the good mechanism of ezetimibe. With the diagram, you can draw this simple diagram and you can write the mechanism of action for the ezetimibe and understand very well the mechanism of action of ezetimibe. Now we go for the metabolism of ezetimibe. Again, it is having two metabolites. One is the active metabolite, which is a major metabolite in the body, and one is the minor metabolite. Okay, so after oral administration, ezetimibe is rapidly and extensively metabolized in the intestinal wall and the liver via glucuronide conjugation, a phase 2 reaction to its active metabolite, a corresponding phenol glucuronide. So as we have seen the structure of ezetimibe, okay, so here the phenolic group which is present in the red, you can see the glucuronide formation is taking place. H is replaced by glucuronic acid which is forming the glucuronide, and this is active metabolite of the drug, you can say. Second is a small amount, less than 5% of ezetimibe undergoes the oxidation to convert the benzylic hydroxyl group to a ketone, you can say. So here the oxidation process is going on, and the minor product on less than 5% it is forming in the liver by the phase 1 metabolism, that is oxidation, and the oxidation to convert the benzylic hydroxyl group to the ketone formation. Okay, so the major metabolite and minor metabolite you can remember, and the route of metabolism also, the phase 2 metabolism forms the major product, phase 1 metabolism forms the minor product. So these are the MCQs you can crack from this slide. The structure is there, you can draw the structure also for your answer or for your remembrance, you can say. Next we go for side effect and drug interaction of ezetimibe. Side effect: the abdominal pain, diarrhea, arthralgia, back pain, cough, pharyngitis, sinusitis, fatigue and viral infections are more liable for the ezetimibe, you can say. Arthralgia means the inflammation of the muscles or the joints, you can say, which is attached to the skeletal muscles, etc. The joints are there, joints are paining due to this. So arthralgia is the condition where the joints are paining also occur in the patient. Okay. Apart from this, the drug interaction when given with the antacid, okay, aluminium and magnesium containing antacid decreases the maximum plasma concentration of ezetimibe. Bile acid sequestrants decrease the bioavailability of ezetimibe if administration is not adequately spaced. Okay, that means if two drugs are given, there should be a timing difference of administration, you can say. So both are not given simultaneously, it should be having some gap or space between the administration, you can say. Cyclosporine increase ezetimibe concentration in the body, so it has to be used cautiously. Fibrates increase ezetimibe concentration and possible increased risk of cholelithiasis. With the exception of fenofibrate, concomitant use is not recommended. Okay, so due to the formation of the gallstones, okay, the stone formation, though this fibrates and ezetimibe has to be very precautiously been used, you can say. That is why the fenofibrate, okay, which is concomitant use, is not recommended with the ezetimibe, you can say. So these are the side effects and drug interaction of ezetimibe. Now we go for the last one, the last class which we have classified under miscellaneous drug, that is probucol. You can call it as LDL oxidation inhibitors. Okay, so the probucol, if you see the structure, is a dimer. You can say the probucol molecule has two tertiary butyl phenol group linked by a dithiopropylidine bridge, giving it a high lipophilic character with strong antioxidant property. So probucol as such, it's an antioxidant. Okay, so in human it causes a reduction of both liver and serum cholesterol level, but it does not alter the plasma triglyceride. It reduces LDL and to a lesser extent HDL level in the body, you can say. So this is how miscellaneously it is used, okay, probucol, but it is there in the treatment. So chemical structure is there in front of you. You can practice how simple structure. The mechanism of action of probucol, okay, so probucol lower the level of cholesterol in the bloodstream by increasing the rate of LDL catabolism. Okay, additionally, probucol may inhibit cholesterol synthesis and delay the cholesterol absorption also. Probucol is a powerful antioxidant which inhibit the oxidation of cholesterol in LDL. This slow the formation of foam cell which forms atherosclerotic plaques. The reduction of HDL may be caused by the ability of probucol to inhibit the synthesis of apolipoprotein A1, a major protein component of HDL. It is effective at reducing level of LDL and is used in hyperlipoproteinemias characterized by elevated LDL level, you can say. So in the figure you can see how the oxidation of lipoprotein is going on. Okay, so LDL oxidation, okay, to form the oxidized product of LDL, for which is forming the foam cell which is attaching to the blood vessels, you can say, and forming the atherosclerotic plaques in the body, you can say. So that is how it is preventing. Okay, so this is how Probucol, if you see the minus sign which indicate the inhibition of continuous oxidation of LDL to form the foam cells or the cholesterol containing complex, you can say, which is adhering to the blood vessels. So that is what the main mechanism of action of the Probucol. The side effects of Probucol, general side effects like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, increased eosinophil in the blood, prolonged QT interval ventricular arrhythmia, that is the disturbance in the arrhythmic condition or the cardiac rhythm also produced by the drug, you can say, irritation of stomach or intestine, stomach cramps or swelling of the abdomen, which are the peculiar side effects of the Probucol. So here we stop the complete anti-lipidemic chapter, the part 1 and part 2, and both the parts you go through in the videos, so that you can understand complete lipid metabolism, complete lipid control, the types, etc., the drug treatment classification, the mechanism of each class is acting in the different way in the anti-lipidemic. So you can understand that how, and you have to correlate that how this drug class will lower the drug means lipid level of the body, you can say. So these drugs are widely used along with the coronary heart disease also, and most probably the lifestyle of a person is what having the importance. Okay, so if you live a better lifestyle, your immune system also increases. So in this condition which is going on, the pandemic condition, that is COVID-19, the stronger immune system we required for saving us from this coronavirus also, you can say. So better lifestyle you live, better healthy food you take, better sleep you take, exercise regularly, this will overcome all the difficulties or the possibilities in the future also, getting on to the different diseases also. So this is my personal advice. Again, the last slide, which is continuously in all the videos, that you like this video, you share this video with all your friends and subscribe to the channel so that you can get the new videos continuously. Press bell icon so that you get the new notification first on your mobile, so that you can on the videos or YouTube, you can say, so that you can have the knowledgeable importance, and increase the knowledge, and this will help you in preparation for your university exams, your nationalized exams, you can say. Many GPAT MCQs you can crack from this video, you can say, and this will help to all the students. It is not restricted to one group only, it is for all over the world, you can say. So you can spread it to all the all your friends, so that they can be benefited from this video, you can say. So thank you very much for the subscription and listening, and thank you very much.